bringing you the 2K Sports NCAA Selection Show. We're all set to show you the seeding and pairings, so get out your bracket sheet, get those pencils ready. Here are the basics. Of the 65 available tournament bids, 31 are automatically given to conference champions. The tournament committee hands out the remaining 34 bids on an at-large basis. An opening round game will take place on Tuesday night to narrow the field to 64 teams. But before we unveil the brackets for this season, here's a look at the final top 25 media poll of the season. There's certainly one big shift that we'll be talking about. A new team has made the top 25 this week. The Ryder Broncs break into the poll as the number 25 team. Poll voters have had their say in the national rankings since November. The time has come to hand over the reins to the selection committee. Now let's take a look at the NCAA tournament bubble and see which teams are sitting at home with their fingers crossed, hoping to see their name in the brackets. There are a lot of worthy candidates among these 10 teams, Clark. Which of these bubble teams stands out to you right now?
Michigan put together a solid season, but their record just isn't impressive enough to make them a no-brainer bid. If the committee doesn't give weight to their tough conference, they could be out of luck.
And we have a few more teams in similar position, right, Clark?
Arkansas State impressed me this year, but there were occasions when they seemed to lose focus for a game or two at a time. And those setbacks could be what keeps them out of the tournament.
I'm sure it's been a long week for those teams, but the wait's almost over. The NCAA Selection Committee has finished its meeting, and we're ready to unveil the top 4 seeds in this year's tournament. The Penn State Nittany Lions are the top overall seed, and they will play in the East Regional. They begin the tournament as the dominant team in college basketball. They've been ranked number 1 in the media poll for the past 2 weeks. Let's see if they can live up to everyone's expectations. On to the second number 1 seed, who will play in the South Regional. The USC Trojans are seeking their second NCAA championship in school history. The Mean Green of North Texas are our third number 1 seed, and they'll play in the Midwest Regional. They're back in the tournament again, and no doubt they'll be feeding off the experience of last year's appearance as they try to get to the Final Four this year. And finally, our fourth number 1 seed will play in the West Regional. The Kentucky Wildcats are in the tournament field as a number 1 seed for the 9th time in the history of their program. Now, here's how the brackets shape up based on where the number 1 seeds have been assigned. In one national semifinal game, the winner of the East Regional will play the winner of the South Regional. In the other semifinal game, the winner of the Midwest Regional will play the winner of the West Regional. Those games will be played on Saturday, April 1st. Then we'll be on to the national championship game on Monday night, April the 3rd. Anything shocking to you about those picks?
Well, when you see the selection committee deviate from the top 4 teams in the media poll, it's a little surprising. They've opened themselves up to some criticism with these picks.
So, with the number 1 seeds out of the way, it's finally time to tackle the rest of the bracket. First up, we take a look at the East Regional. The Penn State Nittany Lions are the top seed, and they won both the regular season and conference tournament titles in the Big Ten. They will take on the winner of the opening round play-in game between Colgate, with 13 wins, and Delaware State from the MEAC. And now, the number 8 seed, the Georgia Bulldogs, come into the tournament 5th in their conference during the regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They're going to play the number 9 seed, the California Golden Bears, who were semifinalists in their conference tournament, finishing at 21-12. Boston College comes in as the number 5 seed, finishing at 20-11. And they will take on the 12th seed from the America East Conference, the Boston University Terriers, with 23 wins. Pepperdine enters the field as the number 4 seed from the West Coast Conference. This marks their 16th appearance ever in the NCAA tournament. They'll be getting ready to face the number 13 seed, the Mercer Bears, finished the season with 19 wins.
The Pepperdine Waves are going to provide serious matchup problems to any team that doesn't have depth and defensive ability at both guard spots. They have outstanding backcourt play at both ends of the court. It's the main reason they've made it this far, and they're going to have to maintain that form if they want to do some damage in this tournament.
The Marquette Golden Eagles are in as the number 6 seed. They'll be taking on the number 11 seed, the Arkansas State Indians, with 20 wins. Georgia Tech comes in as the number 3 seed, finishing at 21-8. Idaho comes in to face them at number 14 with 16 wins in the tournament championship of the WAC. Our number number 7 seed from the Metro Atlantic Conference. The Rider Broncs were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the Big Dance. They are going to play the number 10 seed, the Kansas State Wildcats, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 20-12. Next up is the number 2 seed. The Texas Pan American Broncs have established themselves as one of the best teams from the independent ranks. They'll be going up against the number 15 seed, the Wisconsin Milwaukee Panthers, with 14 wins. This is their 9th appearance ever in the NCAA tournament. I think this could wind up being the bracket that brings us this year's Cinderella story. A few of the higher seeds here have had terrific seasons, and I'll be surprised if at least one of them doesn't put together a long run in this tournament. Next up, we'll take a look at the South Regional. The USC Trojans are the top seed, finishing at 35-0. They won both the regular season and conference tournament titles in the Pac-10. They'll take on the Grambling State Tigers, the number 16 ranked team. This will be their second appearance all time in the NCAA tournament. Brigham Young comes in as the number 8 seed, finishing at 20-9. Alabama comes in to face them at number 9 with 20 wins and a legion of loyal fans just dying for some tournament success. Xavier enters the field as the number 5 seed from the A-10 Conference. This marks their 25th appearance all time in the NCAA tournament. They'll be getting ready to face the number 12 seed, the Great Bulldogs, finished the season with 23 wins.
The Xavier Musketeers are a team that is just so powerful and strong up front. I would put their front court up against just about any other teams in the nation right now. It's always good to have strong guard play, but if you ask most coaches, I guarantee you they take the good big man over the good little man most times. Their interior play should serve them very well in this competition.
UNLV comes in as the number 4 seed, finishing at 26-9. They'll take on the 13th seed from the Ivy League, the Harvard Crimson, with 17 wins. And now the number 6 seed, the Troy Trojans, come into the tournament as the 4th place team in their conference during the regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 11 seed, the Texas Tech Red Raiders, who finished second in their conference tournament, finishing at 18-11. The Gonzaga Bulldogs are in as the number 3 seed. They'll be taking on the number 14 seed, the Tennessee State Tigers, with 18 wins. Next up is the number 7 seed. The UC Santa Barbara Gauchos are the regular season champion from the Big West. They'll be going up against the number 10 seed, the Wyoming Cowboys, with 19 wins. They return once more to the very familiar surroundings of the NCAA tournament. Our number 2 seed is from the MAC. The Red Hawks of Miami of Ohio had a tremendous year that included a regular season championship. They're going to play the number 15 seed, the Nicholls State Colonels, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 15-13. On the surface, I'd have to say this regional might be the most difficult of the 4. Certainly the depth of quality teams here is very impressive. Whoever emerges from this bracket will have been through some battles. On to our 3rd bracket of the day. Let's take a look at the Midwest Regional. The Mean Green of North Texas are the top seed, finishing at 33-0. They won both the regular season and conference tournament titles in the Sun Belt Conference. They'll take on the Ole Miss Rebels, the number 16 ranked team. This marks their 7th appearance ever in the NCAA tournament. Our number 8 seed is from the Colonial Athletic Association. The Hofstra Pride are on a hot streak, having just won their conference tournament championship. They're going to play the number 9 seed, the Red Storm of St. John's, who were 6th in their conference, finishing at 19-11. The Clemson Tigers are in as the number 5 seed. They'll be taking on the number 12 seed, the Rice Owls, with 20 wins. Illinois enters the field as the number 4 seed from the Big Ten. It's yet another appearance in the brackets for a school that's no stranger to the NCAA tournament. They'll be getting ready to face the number 13 seed, the Western Michigan Broncos, who finished the season with 15 wins.
The Illinois Fighting Illini have more to prove than any other team in this tournament. They haven't had a lot of experience in the tournament recently, so it's difficult to say exactly how they'll handle it. They've shown they're capable of playing with the best teams in the nation during the regular season. Now they need to show they belong with those teams come tournament time.
Virginia comes in as the number 6 seed, finishing at 21-10. As they take on the 11th seed from the Colonial Athletic Association, the Virginia Commonwealth Rams, with 18 wins. And now the number 3 seed, the Vanderbilt Commodore, come into the tournament after finishing second in their conference during the regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 14 seed, the Liberty Flames, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 18 and 10. Next up is the number 7 seed, Louisiana Lafayette Ragin' Cajuns, have established themselves as one of the best teams from the Sun Belt Conference. They'll be going up against the number 10 seed, the Marist Red Foxes, with 19 wins. This marks their 4th appearance ever in the NCAA tournament. NC State comes in as the number 2 seed, finishing at 22 and 8. Louisiana comes in to face them at number 15 with 16 wins in the tournament and regular season championships of the conference. This bracket has the potential to give us a sensational matchup in the regional finals if everything goes according to form and the top 2 seeds can survive the early rounds. And finally, let's have a look at the West Regional. The Kentucky Wildcats are the top seed, finishing at 26 and 5. They were winners of the regular season championship in the SEC. They'll take on the Portland State Vikings, the number 16 ranked team. This marks their first appearance in the NCAA tournament in team history. Next up is the number 8 seed, the North Carolina Tar Heels, have established themselves as one of the best teams from the ACC. They'll be going up against the number 9 seed, the UCLA Bruins, with 21 wins. They return once more to the very familiar surroundings of the NCAA tournament. Fairfield comes in as the number 5 seed, finishing at 22 and 6. And they will take on the 12th seed from the Colonial Athletic Association, the Northeastern Huskies, with 20 wins. Louisville comes in as the number 4 seed, finishing at 21 and 7. Cal State Northland comes in to face them at number 13 with 17 wins in the tournament championship of the Big West. Our number 6 seed is from the SEC. The Tennessee Volunteers were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the Big Dance. They are going to play the number 11 seed, the Richmond Spiders, who were semifinalists in their conference tournament, finishing at 20 and 14. The Syracuse Orange are in as the number 3 seed. They'll be taking on the number 14 seed, the Elon Phoenix, with 18 wins. And now the number 7 seed, the San Diego State Aztecs, come into the tournament after finishing second in their conference during the regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 10 seed, the Kansas Jayhawks, who were semifinalists in their conference tournament, finishing at 17 and 9. Duke enters the field as the number 2 seed from the ACC. It's yet another appearance in the brackets for a school that's no stranger to the NCAA tournament. They'll be getting ready to face the number 15 seed, the Terriers of St. Francis, finished the season with 17 wins.
The Duke Blue Devils will be an extremely dangerous team in this tournament, mainly because they have such terrific veteran leadership. Coaches love when they have guys on the floor that have been around the block a few times because they don't get rattled. They play with composure. I look at the experience of this team as something that could put them over the top.
Looking into the future a little bit, this bracket looks poised for a titanic matchup in the regional final. If the top 2 seeds can take care of business in the first 3 rounds, we have the possibility of a classic Elite 8 meeting. Clark, how do you view this year's top 16?
There are no real off-the-wall picks that jump out at me. These 16 teams are all pretty deserving. Let's give the committee some props this year. Kentucky is the softest of the top seeds. I'm not going to say exactly when they'll go down, but if I had to pick a number 1 team that won't be at the Final Four, it would be them.
Now let's bring the conference picture into focus. The ACC gets 7 teams. The SEC with 6. 4 out of the Sun Belt Conference. The Mountain West gets 4 teams.
You got to take your hat off to the teams in the Sun Belt Conference. They topped the non-power conferences with the number of bids they got, and it shows you how far this conference has come. They're becoming dominant at that level.
And let's not forget the team out of the Big West. For a small conference, they competed at a very high level this year. Those teams could be the place to look if you're trying to find a Cinderella story in the tournament.
I'm surprised there were so few bids for the teams in Conference USA. It was an especially disappointing year for that conference. Usually you can count on a few of the nation's elite teams coming out of there. But this was a season where very few of those teams could maintain any type of positive momentum.
Here's the list of the teams that were on the bubble heading into Selection Sunday. So, partner, which of those invitees should be sending the selection committee a thank you card?
Richmond scheduled a bunch of tough opponents in its non-conference schedule, and it ended up paying dividends for them. With experience from those games, they'll be tough.
While those teams are celebrating getting into the tournament, let's take a look at the other teams who are on the short end of the stick.
Chattanooga had a good shot into that large bid, or so I thought. But the bottom line this year was the bubble was too crowded with major conference teams, and they got stuck on the outside.
All right, Clark, now that we know all the teams and matchups, time to get the tournament underway and let the madness take over.
Greg, it's going to be a fantastic tournament. We've got an outstanding field and a lot of sensational players. I guarantee there are some memorable moments soon to come.
For my partner Clark Kellogg and for all of us here in the 2K Sports Studios, I'm Greg Gumbel. Thanks for joining us on the NCAA Selection Show, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. Enjoy all the excitement of the NCAA tournament.